Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the one and only TSA coming to you live from the 985, also known as Deep Kloof or DK, and you are watching Crisp.
Welcome to Crisp Chats, the show which is in tune with the culture and what's going on, especially our artists. Today we have TSA in the building. This guy is the silent assassin, as the acronym goes. What's up, TSA?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're good and you, bro.
Good.
Easy chilling.
Hey. So I just want to start off, yeah? We heard that you're from DK. I'm also from DK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what zone you from?
I'm from Phase 3.
Phase
So,
3.
Yeah, Deep Kloof Extension.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're from the fancy side.
Yeah, I'm from the Santon side. Where you from?
Yeah, I'm from zone 2.
Zone 2.
Yeah. So I do want to ask, we heard that your first foray into rapping came with your mom's giving you the Eminem show when you were 11.
Yeah.
So what was happening with moms or giving you Eminem when you were 11? Did she know what it was about, or she was just giving it to you in jail?
My parents would have killed me.
I mean, obviously she didn't know what it was about exactly, but she just wanted to make her son happy. But at the time, because music was an outlet for me, she could tell that this is something that makes me happy. So she got me that. But obviously prior to, the hip hop, we grew up a lot on Guaido. We grew up on house music.
Yeah.
So that was not the first album I got, but it was the first hip hop album. So prior to that, I remember buying Msawawas, Bonga
Yeah.
So there was Oskido's Church Grooves
Aye.
that we grew up on. There was the Twins before the Twins. I was thinking Revolution.
Revolution,
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That's basically the music that we grew up on. Brenda Fassie.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. So, but transitioning into hip hop, becoming much bigger in South Africa. Eminem and 50 Cent were well marketed, and they were doing their thing. So those were the artists that we got exposed to via.
Did you
mainstream.
gov Bow Wow?
Yeah, of course, Bow Wow,
Yeah.
Sierra. Yeah, that's pretty much the era. Ja Rule. Yeah, so we grew up a lot on that. But then the one artist that really caught my attention was Eminem, and I just loved the way he was able to express himself and just articulate his emotions on record, which taught me or kind of made me understand what anger feels like, what sadness is, what excitement and just being goofy is.
Yeah.
Back when I didn't have anyone to articulate those things to me. So
Yeah.
I used that to sort of learn about, my whole emotional system.
Yeah, Eminem was a pop culture phenomenon, bro.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have any essence of that pop culture stuff in you, where you feel like you could parody a Michael Jackson, kind of like Eminem did in a video, or is that not your style?
Maybe not as drastic. I would probably take a different approach to being that pop, to having that pop influence more in the sense of changing the way people think, changing the way people see the world and how they position themselves and define themselves as individuals. Because he also spoke to a generation that needed what he was providing. They needed an outlet. So I can do the same thing, but in my own way, something that matches my personality or things that really get me going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you real quick. Do you remember the first verse that you wrote?
I do. I remember maybe a few lines. It was a song called The Voice of Hip Hop is Underground.
Eish.
So it just went a little something like, the voice of hip hop is underground. You hear that sound? No, because it's not known around. It was just referring to how the mainstream was not really feeding, the soul, the way that underground hip hop did. And just even thinking back right now to how when I discovered Immortal Technique, he would cover topics like political topics, things about Osama bin Laden, things that we really didn't have access to, but we could hear it through the music. So yeah, that's basically what the verse was speaking of. The voice of hip hop is underground.
Yeah.
Because the mainstream was obviously the content and the topics were more narrowed down to specific things that were repetitive, Whereas if you want to learn something new, something that is outside of your own environment, you would get it from underground hip hop.
Yeah. So with that leads into a very good conversation point. Would you rather be a hip hop artist or an underground artist?
A hip hop artist.
A commercial, a popular artist, or an underground artist?
Look, if my message can become big enough that it becomes popular and big, then so be it. I'll still do what I do and speak about things that I believe in. you know. But if it can be blown up to a bigger platform, you know, there's no denying or accepting. It's just about going with what impact you have on a generation and on society, you know, as a whole.
And I just want to touch real quick on your company, Nobody Else, that you started with your bro, Bambata. One thing that we get from you as an artist is that you like to roll dolo. It's almost like you like to keep everything in-house, you know what I'm saying? So can you talk more about like why you felt like you needed to be more in control of your creative process and all of that? Just talk about Nobody Else and the vision behind it.
So Nobody Else obviously started because we actually had no choice. We didn't really have access to videographers, you know, not much access to producers, not much access to sound engineers, photographers. So we actually had to develop the skills that we needed in order to create the content that we have. So my brother went into photography, I went into music. So, but prior to that, our educational background for me, is IT. And then he studied fashion, buying and merchandising. So, you know, and then he transitioned into photography. So that's where the content was able to be created. Whereas at the same time, I had also been self-taught in like being able to record myself, being able to like mix my vocals on like instrumental beats. So like it just all spanned from a need that we needed to satisfy in order to create the art that we wanted to create. It's not to say that we were going around saying we don't want anyone to do anything. Of course, we would have liked that, but obviously money is a resource that is required to be able to gain access to those resources and those services. So we just decided, you know, since no one else can do it for us, you know, it's nobody else but us.
And I like that because what you guys decided was we need something. We're going to teach ourselves how to do it, you know, instead of just waiting, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to create the opportunity myself. And I think that's super dope to like decide to put your fate in your own hands because, you know, we know in this country, unemployment, all that stuff. And at some point, you just got to make it shake, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just have to make it do what it does, man.
Exactly.
Just get it out there, you know?
So let's chat about the music a bit. What are you actually trying to do with your music? Like, what are you trying to bring to us that's unique? That's the one thing I've been trying to understand about TSA, is that what's your offering that makes you different? What's the separating factor from all of the other rappers? Could you explain?
You know, like just as I've been doing this, you know, trying to discover what it is, what my purpose is of making music and sharing all these stories, I then was able to like narrow it down to just healing and educating. Those are the core, you know, goals that my music, you know, fulfill basically. So in terms of what I would like to do, I also would like to teach people, you know, how to hear good music, teach people how to make good music, because I also grew up around, you know, music fanatics. You know, my grandfather had a jazz room at his home where he called it Back of the Moon. And he would host his friends there. So it's just also about being a curator of good quality music. And he had like a whole jazz collection of vinyls, VHS tapes.
He was like Jazz Caviar, like.
Yeah, like he was the go-to. Like, he was Jazz Caviar, literally. And he'd host his friends and they'd have drinks there. And then he'd also host me and my brother when we'd go visit.
Cool.
And he'd just be like, yo, come sit with me. And he had like a whole setup. He had lights. Had gel lights.
Damn.
You know, he had a whole like sound system with like the 5-disc changer, and he had like a vinyl player. You know, so he had like a whole media thing going on in there that allowed him to create like some good quality jazz music. And then my father also had his own collection of jazz vinyls. You know, I remember just listening to Phil Collins, you know, as a young boy, as he would chill on the couch, listening to Toto. You know, there was a lot of like great music that we grew up around, and that's basically what I'm trying to carry into my career. You know, carry into my legacy, just to showcase and teach people about good quality music and what it can do for people's lives. You know.
So would you ever switch up styles? Would you ever go with a more commercial sound? Because the music would be great anyway. Or would you like to just keep it very simple? Scoop, actually, he spoke about you, Scoop. And he said that your music, it's not very rappy. You're not trying to do too much with it. You're trying to keep it simple.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep it bass, rap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not making club bangers.
Yeah.
Would you ever switch and make club bangers?
Look, I think with the level of skill that I have, you know, I do have the potential to make some really great songs that could pop off.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much anywhere. But for now, I really do want to keep it organic. You know, I want it to still speak to the soul no matter what. There's commercial music that really is just like bubble gum. You know, you put it in the mouth,
Yeah.
you chew it. When the flavor's gone, you have to throw it out. You know, I
Sure.
want to make more gourmet type of, you know, mainstream music. It can still exist. You know, Michael Jackson wouldn't have never existed if he was making some bubblegum stuff. Like it was all
Yeah.
quality in it. If it can live on, Tupac, same thing. You know, we still listen to some Tupac jams, and it's pretty much what also Kendrick is doing right now, and I'm drawing a lot from that. It's what The Weeknd is doing right now with his sound. You know, it might not be something you can hear playing in the club, but you know, we're gonna be jamming to that in our 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
You know, while raising
up.
our kids, because it still speaks to a specific sound that is just organic to the human spirit and the
Yeah.
human soul. You know.
You just mentioned a lot of the greats.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, dream feature?
My dream feature.
Yes,
Damn,
sir.
like, to be honest, like, if I don't work with Kendrick Lamar, like, it would, I feel like it wouldn't be useless, but like, if he was the only feature I could ever work with in my whole entire life, that would be him.
That would be the one.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Cool. So we were checking out some of your songs, and one thing that struck me was for your music video for Udanko. Yeah, you had clips of Muhammad Ali.
Oh no, that's fortunate.
That's fortunate.
Yeah,
My apologies. Fortunate.
worry.
So you had clips of Muhammad Ali, and I was thinking, like, you know, do you personally also, like, in your mind, you also fashion yourself as the greatest? You want to be the greatest. You want to push until you're at the top. Is that what, like, Muhammad Ali represents for you?
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
everyone else that I look up to is just, they all have this thing of just striving to be the best. Because if you're not gonna do it to be the best, why do it at all, you know? So like that's the approach I have. You
Yeah.
know, that's the philosophy I have as well. You have to like give it your all because, you know, I also have like a sporting background to where I used to play soccer in high school, basketball and hockey. And every time we would go out into the field, like they would tell us to leave everything
Yeah.
on that field, you know, and just make sure that you give it your all.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's kind of the same mentality that I apply to everything else that I do in my life, especially with my music career. You want to give it your all, no matter how slow things are taking place. Just always like empty out your soul, like your whole body, because it's also finite. You know,
Yeah.
your time on earth is also finite. So what good is it gonna do you if you're going to leave this earth with a bit of, you know, with a lot of songs in you, with a lot of passion in you? It's not gonna make any difference.
Yeah.
There's a younger generation that's growing right now. They need to be able to articulate what emptying out your body and leaving it all, you know, and just putting it out there
Yeah.
as much as possible, because
Yeah.
it's always about the next person that's gonna be perceiving and experiencing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
You seem like you definitely have a lot of Kendrick influence, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel a little bit of Mick Jenkins.
I mean, there's in terms of like the taste and the style, you know, one thing we can all acknowledge is the one person that you think I'm rapping like is actually copying someone else or referencing someone else.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the beginning of that. Like
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, for instance, has fathered a lot of styles. Same with Eminem. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Eminem and Kendrick as well. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Jay-Z and a whole lot of other artists like Desi Hines. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
Desi
Yeah.
Hines.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Jay-Z in that. So
Yeah.
ultimately, it's all about where it all started. You have to look to the top.
Yeah,
and
so
come back
that's
down with
exactly
it.
what I
Yeah.
was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you, who are your influences? Who do you feel like you're taking a lot from and redirecting into your craft?
I would, if I were to name just 3 people,
Yeah.
I would say, for instance, like we spoke about how I got the Eminem show at 11 years old. Like, so he's the reason why I started rapping. And then Kendrick was an example of how to pursue a rap career. Because Eminem would have not been a great example because of the era that he came up in,
Yeah.
the era he grew up in.
Yeah.
When I first discovered Kendrick Lamar, it was back in 2011, I think, 2012. I was in college and I had already started rapping, but I just didn't know what direction to take it.
Yeah.
So he gave me a direction as to, these are the kinds of things you want to speak about. They resonate with you.
Yeah.
This is how you want to this is how you find your voice. You know, he had like a similar background of wanting to be like an activist and speak for the voiceless, you know.
Yes,
So
sir.
Kendrick Lamar resonated a lot with me in terms of those kinds of things. And then obviously when it comes to the money making, it's Jay-Z, you know.
Yeah.
When we're talking about I'm not a businessman, I'm a
Businessman.
man. That's basically what I draw from Jay-Z.
Aye.
Along with the, you know, very swagged up raps, you know, the flashy style. Like it's all a mixture of things that are creating me as an artist.
So I just want to touch on one more thing that seems to be very central to you. That is your love for the city.
Yeah.
You know, your love for the city and the way it inspires you reminds me of the boom bap rappers from the 90s with New York. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was very central to everything.
Yeah.
The way that they filtered the experience. You know, I know it, like one of your viral songs was Joburg State of Mind. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
definitely, yeah.
So the city is very important to you. Can you articulate what effect it had on you and why it inspires you so much creatively?
So the city just basically taught me how to like integrate yourself into, you know, a society to where you need to become somebody, you know. Like obviously you don't want to be living a life that is too isolated. You know, you want to be integrated with other people that are creating things, you know. And like city life really taught me that it's an exchange, you know, of services, information, products. So, you know, when you leave home, the first thing I would need to do is catch a taxi. Oh, there we go. I've got transport leaving from home to go to the city. If I need to get an education or I need to go buy food or I need to go buy clothes, I would get that as well. So the city kind of taught me a way to survive in this era. Obviously, we're not living in like the Stone Age. You know, we're living now in a more commercial and capitalist era. So that taught me how to like become somebody and just build yourself as an individual, be of service to someone, someone will be of service to you, and just contribute something, you know, to society. That's what the city taught me, because you would find a whole lot of things from, you know, whatever you have to eat at home, you get it from the city. If you want to move around, there'd be transport to get you there. So that's basically what the city actually really taught me.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was just able to just, you know, build something of my own that I could also contribute towards that system.
Yeah, and I asked that question because even your music video for your latest song that you brought here to Crisp, Shine, you know, it's shot with you in the backdrop of the city.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask is, why this song for 2022? You know, why this song to really introduce yourself for this year, to say this is the direction that I'm headed in? What is the significance of this song to you creatively and just overall is in your career trajectory in this year?
So the song goes, money on my mind all the time. I just want to be alive, want to shine. So like just to summarize everything that I've been through on my come up as an underground artist, is just really going from the darkness into the lightness, you know, going from the underground into the mainstream. It's literally just saying like, you know, despite all the trials and tribulations, at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to shine. You know, the ultimate goal is to show who you are. You know, radiate what you represent into the world, no matter what. And I think, you know, 2022 also coming from, you know, the pandemic and its effects that it's had on us as a world and as a nation, as a community, as families. You know, I think you would want to come back into the light, no matter what, because the darkness has taught you a whole lot of things about who you are. So shine for me is me like really just taking a stand for everything I believe in, and just putting it out there and spotlighting all those things so that more people can see it, you know?
And that's a beautiful place to wrap this up. We had TSA, the silent assassin, but he's also a healer, guys. This guy makes gourmet food, and he does that through music, and that's a very special thing. What I would say is, TSA, you need to tell us, where can we check out your music?
So TSA, nobody else, on all social media platforms. I'm pretty much on Spotify. I'm on Apple Music. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on YouTube. Just search TSA. The keyword is starting to pick up momentum, so there's no ways you can miss that. Like just type TSA on YouTube, you will find it. Type TSA on Apple Music, Spotify, you will find it. There's a lot of traction. People are now starting to engage with the music. The word is going out there. and I really do appreciate this platform as well.
Shout out.
Bless.
We appreciate you.
will.
This is TSA, nobody else. He's soon to be everybody else. Everyone's going to be blasting his music really soon. I suggest you check it out. This has been Crisp Chats with Loyiso the One and Tshepo. And thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to give us a like, give us a comment how you felt about the interview, and we out.